Alright everyone, I thought it was time to make a dedicated video expressing my actual views so that people would stop being confused over what labels I choose to use or not use to describe myself. I generally shun political labels altogether, especially related to party. Like, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a member of the Libertarian Party or the Green Party or anything. I don't have any partisan loyalty. I simply call it how I see it. I think that makes me more accurate, and I think that most people respect me for that. Although I still get the occasional person saying, oh, these Republicans are evil, you need to vote Democrat to stop the greater evil, or you need to get behind Trump, you know, for some reason, like if I criticize him, I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to say exactly what I want. As far as my ideological views, though, some people think that I'm like a progressive because, you know, I'm in support of gay marriage. I don't have a problem with abortion and so forth. Some people, like, I've had some people claim I'm a member of the alt-right. Like, because I talked to Richard Spencer, I must automatically agree with Richard Spencer or Tara McCarthy or anyone. I must automatically agree with them on all issues. Or I'm critical of mass immigration, like I don't want to see cultures completely destroyed. And so that makes me a hyper-populist or something. And that's simply not the case. What I actually am, the closest label I could use would be a small government minarchist. That is a libertarian, but on the side of libertarianism that believes in small and constrained government, not the abolition of the state, more or less, as the ANCAP side does. The anarcho-capitalist side wants a smaller and weaker state than the minarchists do. I simply want to return to the Constitution. I simply believe that government could be constrained to its proper roles, that is, needs to maintain a military, needs to maintain our capability to defend ourselves. Having just a martial population helps, but it's not enough anymore. We're in a nuclear era now, unfortunately. That means we have to keep up a technologically sophisticated military. I would simply reduce their spending by getting rid of all the contractors, get the military to use private business, everything would be bid upon, and you wouldn't automatically take the highest bid so that you end up with like $200 wrenches and $500 toilet seats and stuff. That's number one. Number two, the second government role, the most essential function is to prevent harm and victimization. That's the essential reason for having it properly understood. A government isn't there to simply pass dictates and laws. It's there to prevent people from abusing one another. It's a different sort of idea of what government should represent than many other systems. In some systems, government represents some sort of mythological cosmic seed of power by which it is dispensed out to the peasantry. That is, somebody is in power because they were willed by God, like a theocracy. They were determined to be the most fit by some sort of oligarchic council. They rose to it through blood, like a monarchy, something, or it's like a standard dictatorship, like they just have the most guns. I see those as fallen and degenerated variants of government. Now, do I support, like, randomly attacking other countries to remove such governments? No, it's not our business. As far as our population goes, though, we have a democratic republic. The concept of government here is to represent the wishes and needs of the people. The greatest wish and need, I think, of any civilized population is to be left alone. If there's no victim, there is no crime. I support ending the drug war. I don't want government making people's medical decisions. I don't want government legislating morality. I don't want government surveilling upon the domestic population without a proper reason, and there never is. I don't support the government militarizing the police. I don't support civil asset forfeiture. I don't support... ideally, the government wouldn't even issue marriage contracts, by the way. People could just consider themselves married, and it would be sort of an at-will procedure for determining, what happens to property if one of the spouses dies or so. I don't even care if they practice polygamy. It's not my battle. It's not my concern. What they're doing is only my concern. It only should concern the government if there's a victim. That means someone broke into your house. Somebody smacked you in the face or something. That's why you have police and government. You have a legal system. But we've overextended it. Like 90% of its function now isn't related to preventing victimization. It's related to screwing people, signing some trade deal to create more bureaucratic regulations, funding some sort of program that the taxpayers never actually voted on wanting in the first place. And this is not a proper form of government. This is the European style of governance that we fought to get away from in the first place. So when people declare me to be a member of the alt-right based on my view of mass migration, I would say it is my belief that a culture cannot maintain small government through mass migration. It will destroy a small government model. In essence, you need more governments to administer the kind of programs and regulations you need in order to have large-scale migration. If it's smaller-scale immigration, if you've got a lot of open land, like we had during the Homestead Act, it's not as big a problem. The people coming over, they're going to take up their piece of land, they're going to farm it. If they fail, that's on them. If they're a failure, it's their own fault. There's no social welfare system to prevent them from going back to their home country or trying again, or they do what they need to do. They're part of a community. People can voluntarily help them if they think that it's in their best interest to do so for cohesion or something. We don't have that system anymore, so you either have to abolish a lot of the regulations and a lot of the socialism that's crept into our system, or you need to abolish the mass migration. You can't have both, because it will perpetually keep small government out of the realm of reality. I would like to see a government where at least half of the bureaus that exist now are compacted together, shrunk, or gotten rid of altogether. Like the NSA, do we need it? No, not really. Do we really need the EPA? No. No, you don't really. They don't enforce clean water, clean air, and stuff like that anyway. They don't have any purpose. The regular legal system, some senator files a complaint and gets the judiciary involved. It's never the EPA doing these things. The Department of Education federalizing the educational system. No, leave it to the states. Our educational system was the envy of the world when the states controlled it, when things were less regulated, when things made sense before a bunch of unions crept in and destroyed the economic capabilities of the educational engine of the country. Then the government stepped in and said, well, things are getting more expensive. That means we need to take care of secondary education. And so what did the government do? It throws grants at a university or at a college. That university or college right now is empowered to simply raise its costs, and it takes all the free money the government can get it. If they were to double the amount of grants that are being given out to public universities and colleges in this country, you know what happened? They would raise the rate of going there, and they would take all the money again. They'd build another stadium. They'd build another lecture hall for some retarded class that nobody even cares about. That's what the higher education does. Regulation doesn't help. Minimum wage laws, they don't help either. In the long term, they will not help the poor. The war on poverty has failed. The war on everything has failed. The war on terror certainly failed. I'd say our government's foreign policy is so bad that it's almost the inversion of waging war on terrorism. It just encourages more of it. So I'm a small government. I'm a libertarian, a minarchist libertarian, classical liberal, sort of these general umbrella terms. I'm not on the alt-right. I'm not a progressive because there's really nothing for progressives to whine about anymore. Equality is the rule of the land. These social issues that they thrived on are all over, so now they have to nitpick about manspreading or mansplaining or the fact that somebody doesn't have a diverse enough sexual history or something. That's really what they've devolved into, because there's no longer a legitimate social movement for them to actually go after. In fact, the real progressives are people now that are seeking to end all the bad bureaucracy, like the hate speech bullshit or affirmative action or something like that. Arguably, that is a progressivist style of movement, simply aimed towards the fiscal side more than, strictly speaking, the social side in many ways, or the legalistic side in some cases, like the judiciary. You'd even say that about MRAs. Not MGTOW, though. They don't believe in judicial reform. They just don't want to be around women for more reasons. Or they just want to, hire a hooker or something like that. I'm going to ream them, too. Every time I do, they show up to whine. I don't really care. Honestly, I don't even fucking care. That's about all. Peace out.